Secret friends, unite!
Welcome to the Secret Friends Unite podcast, episode 503. There you go. Use the hand signals if you're watching it on YouTube. It's very exciting. I have the TARDIS behind me. We're in the holiday season. I am here, Todd Oxtra, to talk about NB, your guide to the geek side, joined by a guest who's filling in for Charlie, who had too much fun at the Christmas party. Maybe he fought terrorists. Maybe he defended Nakatomi Tower. I don't know. We'll find out later. But Christian from 1 Hour, One Decision has joined me on this world of geek to talk about all the fun geek things that we're experiencing right now, including some holiday-centric geek experiences. So, Chris, welcome again.
Yippee-ki-yay, Todd. I am so glad to be here again. And posthumous congratulations on episode post 500. But I'm excited to talk about the holiday season and talk about all the cool stuff that's been happening in 2024.
Absolutely. So you and I are both in kind of frosty locations. So we're feeling a little bit more, though, so maybe than others that are like in the West Coast, maybe down south. So yeah, it definitely feels it. We're getting all the holiday specials are starting to erupt. We love it. I need to make some gingerbread cookies. I don't know, Chris, do you have a favorite holiday cookie treat? Something like I can't wait for it.
Well, this is the first time I actually made apple cider. It turned out pretty good.
Like you actually grew your apples and did that, or you took the apple cider and mulled it, or did something like that?
Well, I mean, I had some apples. We went apple picking earlier in the fall.
Oh,
and then I, did the whole thing. Found a recipe, and then just did the thing. Made it.
I love it. I know at one point there was a book I read when I was a kid in like junior high where they took apples and they made a drink out of them, put them in like a snowbank. I think it was Applejack or whatever. It was basically a very alcohol drink, and then he drank it at a school. Maybe it was like a separate piece. Maybe that's what it was. One of those books. Yeah. So yours is just not alcoholic, but it's definitely fermented. So you get the flavor of the season. And did you like do the mold thing with it, or just kept it straight?
No, I just kept it straight. I just
well, that's awesome.
Yeah. But I did add some gin to it, and that worked pretty good.
I highly recommend Fireball whiskey into because you basically get like the cinnamon apple variety. And then what you can do, Chris, this makes it even better because you can call it a cinnamon toast crunch because my company. You take cinnamon sugar, put it on the rim of the glass. Ooh. It is amazing.
Okay. Good to know.
There you go.
Will, keep that in mind.
My wife is a big fan of that. We do that at the zoo. They have a pumpkin experience extravaganza, as you would, and they give you heated apple cider with the Fireball whiskey in it. You walk around and look at all the pumpkins.
Wow. Okay.
You may see things depending on how much you drink. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, very, very good, Chris. We're so excited to have you here. You're out in New York. I'm out in Minnesota. It's a great place to be during the holidays. So with that, Chris, I just want to say thank you so much to our Patreon Secret Friends Squad, the folks that make this show happen. Oh my goodness. For as little as $2 a month, you can really enjoy all the elements of our Patreon experience. Ad-free first, get it there. And then actually now you can actually gift people a Patreon subscription. That's very cool too. You can check out a 1 week free trial. Chris, you were a Patreon. So thank you so much for supporting us over the years. And we're looking forward to more awesome content, more amazing interviews. Charlie just did an amazing interview with Adam Nimoy, the son of Leonard Nimoy, and that was pretty great. We interviewed Al Jean from The Simpsons. That was great. Wow. We have added a fantasy football podcast that I do every week, Sean Nias, and then we just released a really cool comic book podcast that you have been on, Chris, with me, where we talked about Doctor Strange and his 2023 comic book, which is amazing too. So more there more for everybody. So enjoy that. But I want to say thank you to our besties, Derek Trevelyan, aka our figure dude, Francie, April's hairdresser that Chris and I no longer need. The Xbox expansion pass with Mr. Luke Lore. Thank you so much, Luke. Charlie's uncle, Tim Horan. So hopefully we'll be able to get him the box set of season 5 of Secret Friends Unite. So thank you for that. Our friends with benefits, John Sedorf, Phoenix Sisters Entertainment, Brendan Myers, Corey HD, Matthew Keel, who I actually met in person in Minneapolis. He was visiting from Philly. His sister just moved to the area. It was great. We went to an amazing pinball bar in Minneapolis called Lit. We had a great time. So, Matt, it was great to see you and can't wait to see you again when you visit again. And then Kirk Krug, he is our man with connections. He's the guy that's actually got us all these amazing interviews. And we have a couple, if they come together, will be amazing in 2025. And then lastly, and mostly the folks that have been really supportive through all of this, our Secret Friends Super Squad, Sean Stella and Henry Nias. Sean has been doing the fantasy football podcast with me, the Waiver Wire Wizards, and it's been a hoot because I love sports, and I'm glad that we get to merge the world of geeks plus sports culture and have them come together in a beautiful recipe for tasty football picks. And I was watching a lot of football today, Chris. I don't know if we've talked a lot about sports, Chris. Are you into the NFL? Any of those sports?
I'm more of a basketball fan, but I'll tune in every once in a while to a football game, but it's not my first passion in terms of sports. But yeah.
Yep. Are you a Knicks fan?
I am.
Oh, good luck. I like the Knicks. I like the Knicks a lot. I do. Now, I always feel like they stumble. Isaiah Thomas, unfortunately, was not a kind part of our, because I'm a Detroit Pistons fan. Yeah. Now I'm a Timberwolves fan. I just merged because I've been here in Minnesota for 20 years. So I'm more of into the Timberwolves than that. And then I remember when Isaiah Thomas went, I'm like, oh, Zeke.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. That's rough. But you know what? They seem like they finally get it together. They're getting it together. Yeah. And the team's looking a lot better. You know?
Oh, yeah. It's great. It's great. And I mean, the Timberwolves were looking pretty good too. I don't know. They've been kind of rough right now, but you know, it is what it is.
Well, they totally, when Cat got dealt, I'm like, oh, what is going on here? But
yeah,
we'll see how it goes. See how it goes. Yeah. Very, very good. So, folks, if you are into the world of sports, let us know. But at this point, we need to talk about this amazing cover, Chris. And we got this cover from 1986. The comic book called Animax from Star Comics. Chris, are you aware of Star Comics?
I am not. I am not. I'm not aware of that. But
okay.
Is this like a subdivision in Marvel that was like kind of like a Dark Horse kind of thing, or DC?
It's so weird. Marvel decided they wanted to get into like properties, but with kids. So rather than go under the Marvel brand, even though they had Star Wars and G.I. Joe and Transformers, they said we should just make a line called Star Comics for like Richie Rich and Mad Balls and like all the weird He-Man and these weird titles. And it's like, and then let's make our own title, our own IP that we can make a toy line of. And that's what generated a comic book that only went for 4 issues. And that is called Animax, Chris.
Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah. So the buzz about this is a society that was doing very well. Unfortunately, things went to hell when their planet stopped rotating on its axis, which is like, how does that happen? We don't know. But it ended up turning to 2 parts of the world, the dark side and the light side. Because, of course, if the planet no longer spins, you've got eternal darkness and eternal brightness, the light. Yeah. So basically, we've got the light side. And out of this, apparently a good decision was, let's take animals and turn them into vehicles.
My God. Okay.
So that's what they did on both sides. Oh, so you had like the good guys with like more of your wholesome type of animals. And then you had the bad guys who basically decided to make like mutant monster vehicles. And that's what was going to happen. And apparently was launched to be like part of a toy line that died. And the creator of the comic, it was funny because I saw who wrote it, like Walt Simonson. I'm like, that was the guy behind Thor. Oh my God. He wrote this book. I owned the series, Chris, as a kid, because I'm like, this could be huge. And it didn't. It didn't become. And I put a link in here. Like, I mean, it basically is all about like how this book title was created. But it's really interesting because, you know, in this cover, I picked number 3 of Animax. It's basically a tire guy with wheeled legs. And he looks kind of cartoonish and weird, but the heroes are shooting him in his crotch, his tire crotch. And they've got like a lion vehicle, a horse vehicle, a tiger vehicle, and a rhino vehicle. But you don't even see like the bad guys, which are like monsters and mutants and things like that. So, Chris, I don't know how you could even get this book. Like, I don't think it's in Marvel. I don't think it's in trades. So at that point, I mean, is it worth going on and finding a way to read this comic when you see the cool cover?
Well, I was just kind of curious if Marvel/Disney still has the licensing for this.
That's a good question. I mean, there's a link here I added, and it's basically all about the creator of it. He breaks it down. His name's Mel Burnkrant, and he talks about all of it. And he's got some really cool original art, and he's got some like alternate covers. He's got like a page that was sent to him or a letter from the Marvel CEOs and how he worked with them, and like everything kind of went crazy and how he was basically there was like a secret legend. Like they jumped into like issue number 1, they jumped all into it, but they didn't really give you a great origin. Basically, the origin was like so quick. It's like, okay, we're just in this. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if they own it, what they would do with it, or if like somebody could just come in and make a pitch with it. But I mean, is it worth bringing back? I don't know. I don't know how to tell you. There's actually an unpublished comic as well out of the series. So yeah, I will. I'll add the link to the story and where it was at. But yeah, this is the way it used to be, Chris. Everybody wanted that magic toy line, and the comic book was typically what kind of kicked everything off, because that was what happened with G.I. Joe and Transformers.
I mean, this could be like, if they wanted to make a like really dark kind of almost Mad Max, but like with this gross like animal vehicle thing with like they're like like kind of like a Saw thing going on. I don't know. It could be kind of weird. Like, you know, it could be kind of cool. Like it could be something really weird and dark that you can make out of this thing.
I mean, kids love like cars and vehicles, like the monster, the monster trucks.
Like go the opposite direction, like
you're like
kids and just like make it a more adult version, and like because
like Twisted Metal or something like that. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, Marvel After Dark.
Yeah,
we've made your weird like Mad Max experience, but that could be like a weird experience. So, Chris, I'm excited for when you basically create your pitch for this to Marvel and say what you're going to do with it. I am all for it. I will support you when you pitch this to Marvel. All right. So folks, we'll put the cover in the show. You'll see it on YouTube when I show this to you. So hopefully you enjoy this and check out Animax. And if you were one of the folks like me who read this comic, I would love to have your memories of this. So with that, Chris, we need to check out from what we've been talking about at the beginning of the show, but we really need to see what is happening in the world of news and rumors with our senior correspondent.
Now it's time for Madam Web's Rumors and News. Take it away, boys.
Thank you, Madam Web. Oh my goodness, it's that time of the year, Madam Web, where you come up with a bunch of fake charities. You go around, you bring in a bunch of orphans that follow you around, like it was like Tiny Tim and Fagin from Oliver Twist. You tell them that you're raising money for underprivileged chipmunks. People are, you're saving them, and people follow you, and eventually you escape, change your identity, and you come back a couple months later. So, Chris, watch out. Old ladies talking about like charities that seem sus. don't fall for a trap.
Fair enough. Good to know. Thank you.
Yes. So our first news item from Madam Web, we've got another case of something I love, but Charlie always gets mad at me, and that is about mashup of basically franchises that turned into something bigger than we ever expected. And we're finally getting this with Transformers and Sonic teaming up for actual transforming versions of Sonic. And looks like it's Tails. So we have this collaboration, which is kind of cool because we've got this with like G.I. Joe, Knight Rider, other franchises, even got like the Turtles. I got they added their party wagon. There was Transformers crossover, which I own. But yeah, so we're getting Sonic and Tails. Sonic transforms into looks like his vehicle from their racing game, and then Tails is the basically the plane he's been in the video games that you've seen. So in a lot of ways, they do kind of look like Happy Meal toys. It's the best way to put it, because they're not exactly like a lot of details. You do get Sonic's head, and you do get like a ring and that thing, and then Tails. He does, I guess I don't even know if he has a tail. When I'm looking at the pictures, I can't tell if there's a tail, but he definitely is a plane. So, Chris, at this point, is going to come to Target. It's exclusively there. Oh, nice. And I don't know what the price will be. These are simple Transformers. They transform in 27 to 32 steps. And the cost is $50. You get both of them. That's not bad. There's definitely worse. So I don't know where your kids stand with Transformers or Sonic, but is this of interest to you at all?
Well, we did go see Transformers 1. They did enjoy that. And they are big fans of the Sonic movies and I guess some of the games. But I don't know if they like the collaboration. I mean, it's a decent looking toy, I guess. But I don't know. I just don't want more like stuff for me to step on because they just leave it around the house. So I will make sure not to show this to them. So we'll do that.
I like that. I like that approach. It's like, it's interesting. I'm not against it. I just don't want it in my house.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So,
well, that's something that like, well, I think it looks okay. I do like that this happens. I think there's a lot of people that like the merging. I will definitely not get this because it just doesn't. The aesthetics just don't look right. It's not like high end or anything. Like I said, it looks like more like a Happy Meal toy. So I'm just not feeling it. But I have gotten some of the other ones, like the Knight Rider vehicle that transformed, which is cool. It has like noises. It makes you feel like you're part of the actual franchise, especially franchises that are kind of dead, like Knight Rider. So this, not so much. So, but if anybody else is into this,
you mentioned that 32 steps is low in terms of a transformation.
No, that's like higher end because some of the ones are like it's like twist, you're done. I'm like, oh boy, that's like you took away the challenge from the kids. Like they need a challenge.
I guess. Like, good Lord, 32 steps is still alive. I feel like a lot. I'd be like, I get halfway. And I'm like, I'm good.
It feels a little bit better than it used to be, where it's like, oh, it just transforms itself. It's like, come on, give the kids something to do. They need to figure it out. They need some challenges. But we'll see how this goes. But I'm glad that this is getting some excitement. But it doesn't hit my wheelhouse. But I do appreciate them bringing something to younger audiences and bringing keeping the Transformers license, quite honestly, alive because it struggled. So next, Chris, are you a fan of Scrubs?
I am, but I'll be honest, I haven't seen the whole show like from start to finish. But whenever it's on, I definitely sit down and watch it or whatnot. But yeah, it's a good show. Obviously, it's got a great following, and I guess your news says they're potentially making a sequel or something like that. Yeah.
So Scrubs, for a lot of folks, it's basically just a comedy medical show. JD, our primary protagonist, along with his buddy Turk and Turk's girlfriend / wife, and then you just a bunch of odds and ends of characters that just basically brought the show to life. And they always had the absurdity of the show, which I loved. Like Turk and JD would like do like they would like make scenarios of like dream sequences in their head. Like JD was going to be Dr. Acula, a Dracula doctor. I love that. There was a great musical episode, which was very fun. Yeah. And that they had the musical episode was great because JD and Turk were close friends, but sometimes people thought they were a little too close for life, but I liked it. Now they're doing T-Mobile commercials.
They are.
You know what? Life is kind of crazy, but I really, really enjoyed it. I thought the mix of comedy and absurdity plus long storylines were great. The issue was, it came out in 2001. I was in Saudi Arabia in 2001. So my wife actually recorded episodes and sent them to me on VHS when I was there. So I appreciated it there. And then I watched the show, but the show ran for 7 seasons on NBC, then went to ABC for 2 seasons. The problem with that was essentially when it did that, it's like they brought in a whole new cast and JD was barely on, Turk was barely on, and like, oh, they're going to be like the primary physicians versus like the young, interns that they were. So it kind of struggled at the end. To your point, it's like you probably watched the best parts of the season, Chris, and then fell off because a lot of people felt like the quality kind of died, kind of like Community did that too, where it was like, oh, went to YouTube TV or Yahoo TV or something, whatever, Yahoo Online, and it's like, ooh. So yeah. So the pension for this one's a little bit weird because Bill Lawrence created the show, and he has a deal with Warner Brothers and also 20th Century TV, and he can't be in that allows him to be involved, but he'll not be able to serve as the showrunner. So I don't know what that means. So it's like, is he really going to be able to give any guidance to make the show good? And it will be bringing back. There's no deals currently in place to bring in the original cast members back, but I'm guessing they will come back. So we'll see how this goes. It would be coming to where it would be coming. I guess it would be coming to 20th Century. Oh. Would it be there or 20th Century? It would come somewhere. So where it goes, Hulu, goes to Max. We'll see where that goes, ABC. But it will be interesting to see where they play because there's been a bunch of reboots that have been okay. We had the 90s show. We had The Connors, which was a regroup of Roseanne. So I don't know. Do you like these reboots or these long delayed shows that come back?
It's nice to kind of check in on the characters, but like I almost feel like it should be a mini series kind of thing. Like if there's any sort of like loose threads that we wanted to just tie up, like whatnot, I'm cool with that. Like they did that with Dexter too, right? That
Oh yeah, the new one was the prequel too. That's coming out.
Oh yeah, I'm not watching that. But but the like the other one was like just self-contained. It finished. It closed up a lot of things, and then you just moved on. I'm like, okay, I'm satisfied. Enough. But yeah, like if they plan on doing this like multi-season thing, I don't know. Like, do you want to see older JD and older Turk? Just kind of walking around and, being like, you dang kids, and like just being all whippersnapper, like yelling at clouds and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, why aren't you using T-Mobile, you damn kids? I mean, back in the day, you used to do spinoffs, right? You'd be like, oh, Frasier's left Cheers, now it's his show, right. Or this show or that show. It feels like maybe they should pick a character from this, make a spin-off, and that could be successful because we've had the Frasier like reboot that came back, and that's been kind of okay.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a couple of episodes of this show. It was fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't feel like, oh wow, it feels like more it's like leaning on the past versus it's like, hey, I'm taking something I love and then it's like building a new world around it. So I mean, I could see like any of these characters, maybe even Carla. I mean, Carla was the head nurse, and maybe now that she is got because I had kids, but now it's been so long that it's like, well, her kids are probably grown, so maybe she's like a head nurse at a new hospital, and maybe Turk is like going for his PhD or something. Like I don't know. You could take like a different approach to it. That's interesting because I don't know if you watched St. Dennis, that new show.
Yeah, I was going to say like the one thing I will I appreciate the format of this show versus St. Dennis. Like St. Dennis is like following like the Office style, where it's just like
Rescue Nine or Brooklyn 911 or something like that.
Brooklyn
99.
Nine is like, I would say, more like Scrubs than it is like St. Dennis. Like it's actually.
Oh, it's Superstore. That's the show. The guy was the short behind Superstore, which I really liked. And if you look at there's a lot of characters that are also in that show.
Okay. Yeah. And I mean, St. Dennis has been pretty funny so far from what I've seen. And it's good to have that kind of competition in the funny hospital marketplace. I don't know.
Which there aren't many of those. There aren't many of those. So it's kind of cool to have it back. Yeah. Because Grey's Anatomy is still going after like,
oh my gosh,
25 years. Feels ridiculous. Yeah. Oh well. I'm sure we'll hear more about this on the Streaming Wars. They need more content, so we'll see how that goes. But Chris, we've got something interesting because and I told Charlie we would not talk about a bunch of video games, but this lines into franchise management.
Yeah,
and he loves Indiana Jones, but we've all known how Indiana Jones has struggled with its movies. Mm-hmm. But now there's a game coming out called Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which is coming from Machine Games. It's coming to Game Pass next week. If you're listening to this, it's actually already out. And the success it's hailing right now, based on reviews, makes me think: is it now time for franchises to focus on gaming for a secondary life when they've struggled with either TV or movies, where often those have not worked so well, or they've aged poorly, or you've got protagonists, quite honestly, that are of a certain age that just can't perform anymore. Right. So I'm hearing great things about this game. I haven't played it yet. Have you played Indiana Jones and the Great Circle?
I have not. I am. It is pre-installed on my computer. I am raring to go. Get this going. So
So we've essentially got Indiana Jones in his prime. We've got Troy Baker doing his voice. This is a game against Nazis and Italian. Mm-hmm. So basically members of that fascist regime. And it's a different, basically another adventure with Indiana Jones, where quite honestly, we haven't gotten a lot of them. If you think about it, like over how many years, we've gotten 5 movies, an old TV show, and we got text-based adventures or the LucasArts adventures. We've got like one Xbox game. We got like an arcade game, and that's about it. There hasn't been a lot of franchise care with Indiana Jones. So it sounds like this may be the best route to satisfy the franchise, keep it alive until they can figure out maybe when it can be back on film again. Mm-hmm. And maybe we're okay with it not being, Harrison Ford.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I was going to ask you. Like, is that, when you're saying that, are you saying to fully recast the character as like, someone else to do it? Like the guy from like Twister or something. What's his name? Glenn
Powell.
Glenn Powell.
He'll always be Chad Redwell to me from Scream Queens. Check it out. I always bring that up. He's amazing. But we have Alden Ehrenreich from Solo, who I thought was a great Harrison Ford stand-in. And what's the problem with him coming in to play the role, kind of like James Bond? We've always said James Bond does this.
Yeah.
And no one says, there can only be like, Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Sean Connery's passed away, right? Yeah. Am I right? Maybe. Jinx. But there's been how many James Bonds, and nobody's like complaining that. I mean, everybody has their one they like, but it's not like it's been the franchise is actually stalled. It's actually come to I think a premium level with with our new James Bond. So are you cool with this? Do you want more movies, more tea with Indiana Jones?
I mean, I would love. I'm always into those like big adventure movies and stuff like that. But hey, if they want to try something new to just kind of bring some juice back into the franchise, like I'm all for it. Like you talk about Knight Rider, like I'm all for. Like if they make a Knight Rider video game, sure, I'm all for it. Like let's see if we can spark some interest for people on it. Just not that terrible Knight Rider TV movie that was, oh man, That was bad.
Was it right? Knight Rider 2000 or something like that.
that.
There's
Yeah,
a few others. It's like,
Yeah.
what even doing?
Yeah. But yeah, like I mean, I think what was it like in the early 2000s? They were trying to do that, like reboots of a bunch of franchises at the time, like 80s like, franchises.
They brought back Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
They Starsky and Hutch. I mean, think of like how many bad the Dukes of Hazzard with Jessica. A-Team. That wasn't a bad movie, but it was of that. Like, feels like what other franchise? The Mod Squad. I mean, I mean, we're getting to a certain age, Chris, where I am curious where I guess it would be the 2000s. What franchises from the 2000s are ready to come back? And actually, we'll talk about that because that's the next story. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I like this. I like Indiana Jones feels like a classic storytelling vehicle that can continually be reinvented as long as you keep it within a certain time frame. I don't think people want Indiana Jones to be in the 70s. It just feels weird. Maybe.
Yeah, because like you like at least you kind of you already know like you're setting expectations. He's dealing with World War II or that kind of era of issues that are happening. So it's like, okay, cool. I don't have to think about him being a crotchety old man, like, you know, barely using his whip or whatever the case may be. But I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, like I'm just give these a little shot. Maybe, but I guess the other problem with like going into gaming is it is still also an expensive risk, right? Is it more expensive than making a movie? It can be, right? Could be, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, the last Indiana Jones film cost $350 million. I don't know if this game costs that much. Yeah. But to your point, what's the objective? What's the budget that makes sense? And if you know, Machine Games, who we loved, made Wolfenstein, who is already in that like aesthetics of the 40s with the Nazis, it makes sense they would handle it over. And they've got such a great work ethic. Maybe they can land it on a lower budget because they know what they're doing. So I don't know. And we know we've got Nathan Drake and we've got Lara Croft doing their take on it in modern times. So I think Indiana Jones is fine sticking with that like older time. True. And then keep it with, even though we don't know we're getting the next Uncharted or the next Tomb Raider. Yeah. Although, did you hear that Sophie Turner is supposed to be cast as the next Tomb Raider?
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
All it takes is red hair.
All right. I didn't even know Lara Croft is red-hair. Anyway. Okay, cool. Good to know.
There you go. Well, she gave up trying to wait for George R. R. Martin to write a new book. Oh, well. Next story talking about franchises that are just trying to figure out where they're going to be with new content. We already got a video game that Hogwarts Legacy did very, very well. And because of that, I feel like, there's still gas in this tank with Harry Potter. You go to any bookstore and you see all the merch. So there's rumblings now with this Harry Potter TV series where they're going to expand upon the books. So basically, it's not just like a 2-hour movie. Every book can be a full season. They can get into areas where people felt like maybe they skipped out on things because they had to hurry up. So they're going to recast this whole thing. They're currently looking at certain people that for certain roles. Obviously, they said they're interviewing like over 30,000 kids for the main character roles. And like all the students, which is cool. But we're hearing now that who they're looking into as certain characters, I am really interested in this. So, Chris, we've got basically word that Papa Essadieu, who is behind Kings of London and I May Destroy You, was in talks to play Severus Snape. So you have a character of color or a person of color playing a character that we all know. And now there's other few names that are being thrown into other characters. Apparently, Mark Strong, who I love to pieces, he played, I think it's Albert Falcone in The Penguin.
Albert Falcone.
Was it Albert? Yeah. And I'm like, is that Mark Strong?
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. That was amazing. He's an amazing actor. He played Sinestro. He's played a lot of different characters. I love him. He may be in contention to play Albus Dumbledore, which feels really interesting.
Yeah.
We have Bad Sisters co-creators Sharon Horgan and Constantine and the Mummy alum. Rachel Weisz
Wow.
has been Minerva McGonagall. Oh my God, because Maggie Smith is dead. Rest in peace, Maggie Smith. And then finally, Ted Lasso and Thor: Love and Thunder actor, which is funny because he was a cameo in that movie.
Yeah.
Along with Patton Oswalt as was it Puck?
Yeah, not Puck, but some star
basically showed up Brett Goldstein, who I love to pieces, who's got that gruff voice, playing Hagrid. I love a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, it's kind of like making the Hobbits short, right?
Yeah.
It's his perspective. I think it could work because Robbie Coltrane is probably the same height that Brett Goldstein is when you looked at how he played Hagrid. It is really interesting what they're going from, but basically, Francesca Gardner is going to be from Succession, His Dark Materials, and Killing Eve is the showrunner. Okay. That is a killer's role of great, expertise on running a show. Mark Mylod from Succession, Game of Thrones, The Last of Us, also EP and director of multiple episodes. I'm all in on this.
That's quite the cast of characters right there, and I mean, I'm excited. I've never really gotten that into Harry Potter, but like for them to have the time to breathe and go through each story like that, I'm definitely interested. And I just recently picked up Hogwarts Legacy, so it's kind of appropriate, I guess, to kind of use this as another way to introduce me to the world.
That's amazing. And I know J.K. Rowling's is. I wish she'd just go away. Sell the franchise, because she is distraction. She is not helping anyone, and she's basically tarnishing her legacy for people that, quite honestly, don't believe her politics, but were inspired by the story she told, which is just frustrating.
Yeah, that's too bad.
But
at the same time, like, what's the number that makes her go away?
That's a good question. Yeah. And maybe she's just doing it to be a pain in the ass. She's like, I like doing this. I like being out there. I like to be a pain in the ass, and that's what she is. Which is just, wow. Do something. Do good. Got money. You've got other things. Do good. Pick something else. Save some animals.
Yeah.
Spend your time doing that.
Yeah.
That's weird. Yeah, Chris. All right. Last story is Invincible Season 3 got a trailer, and we're really getting to nuts and bolts of where Invincible is headed next. The story's been shook up. I've loved the comic, but essentially last season was all about Merc finding out that Omni-Man, when he left, basically found the error of his ways, found another community that he fell in love with, and had a kid that was part like insect or something like that. Mm-hmm. So now Mark has a brother, and his mother is basically coming in to take care of his brother, and he's going to be called Kid Omni-Man, which is just a joke, but yeah, that's what it is. And this looks like more about Mark getting ready for the looming impact of the invasion and what he's going to do, and kind of like who can he trust. I've been a huge fan of this series. J.K. Simmons is a great voice actor. Stephen Young as Mark. It's been great, and I'm blanking on his name.
Which character?
The Cecil.
Walton Goggins.
Walton Goggins, who's the man about town. Everybody loves him and everything he does. He's also in this. It's great. I'm really digging this. And the cast is just amazing who's going to be in it. Shirley K. Brown, Peter Cullen, Tatiana Maslany, Rob Delaney, Callista Flockhart, Phil Lamar, Seth MacFarlane, Scott McNairy, Jay Farrow, Ella Purnell, Tim Robinson, Ben Schwartz, Rhea Seorn, Leah Thompson, Paul F. Tompkins, Chantel Van Zanten joined the cast.
Sheesh.
Yes.
Okay.
Holy cow. So what do you think? I'm a big fan of this series. Have you been a fan of the series as well?
Yeah, it's been enjoyable. I don't like the breaks that they do in between so far. That's been annoying. And I guess we'll talk about that a little bit later. But this has been it's been well. I mean, I didn't read the whole series. I've looked it up after season 1, and it's a long series, isn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Robert Kirkman, who did Walking Dead, did the series. There's omnibuses. I read the first omnibus, and I've not been great at keeping up with the series going forward. But it veers enough that feels like you can read it and still enjoy the series separately, which is great.
I'm kind of curious about what they're going to do, because there's certain things that happen later on with like universes. I will say it like that. And like, will they bring all those things to fruition in this show? But I guess we'll have to see.
Good question, because I think, are they going to keep getting renewed? Amazon's been great partner. They've done great quality. So will they keep it around to continue to, or will they veer like The Walking Dead was like, oh, we're done? Because the series kept on going on and they didn't know where they're going to end. So yeah. The big news though, this returns in February. So I'm very excited. More to watch because I don't have enough to watch right now, Chris, right?
That's not true, but
absolutely. Well, very good. That is the news for this week. It was a little bit lean, but we found some stories. Hopefully you stayed entertained. So I didn't bring up the story about the second Popeye movie, so you didn't need that either.
Oh,
because
what?
Oh yeah, second Popeye movie, Chris. We talked about the last episode. No need to do that. Okay. So we are done with our time with Madam Web. We now need to find a location where we can have a drink, listen to some music, and talk about the stuff we love, and that's the Geek Easy. Hey, Secret Friends Unite, let me tell you about Zencastr. We use them for our show, and now they're supporting us. Zencastr is now the all-in-one solution making podcasting easy. It's the ultimate web-based podcasting solution. Provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content, all from one dashboard. Being a creator has never been easier. And we chose Zencastr because of the ease of use, high quality output, and it makes it super easy for our guests to come on. We had multiple solutions we tried before, and Zencastr has just been the best fit for us. Why Zencastr? It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sounds and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Have you ever worried what you sound like? Zencastr's post-production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. So if you're interested in making an easy, high-quality podcast just with the click of a browser button, go to zencastr.com/pricing and use my code SFU1. You'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Now back to the show.
Talk nerdy to me. Talk nerdy to me.
We're sitting in the Geek Easy, cover bands playing, drinks are poured, and we are ready to get our nerd on. So, Chris, I see 3 things you're doing that, quite honestly, I know nothing about. I mean, I've heard of them. I'm knowledgeable of them, but couldn't tell you a thing about actually their quality or if they're worth watching.
Yeah. So I didn't put them in order, but I'm a big like thriller / detective show thing, and when I saw that this show Cross was coming to Amazon Prime with oh my goodness, God, I'm losing
Aldous Hodge.
Aldous Hodge, yes,
yeah.
Aldous Hodge playing the main character. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And
he's not going to be Hawkman and solving mysteries.
He's not going to be Hawkman. He's still gigantic though, but
yes,
but yeah, he's in that. And guess who else is in there? The Old Spice guy, the original Old Spice.
Oh,
guy.
Mustafa. What's his name? Isaiah Mustafa.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about this character too? Guess who was in movies based on this character?
I don't know.
Tyler Perry played a role of Alex Cross.
Oh,
yes.
You're right. You're right.
It's so bizarre. So when I saw it, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So when I hear about Aldous Hodge doing it, I'm like, sure. Because I think it's isn't it based on a book series by what's his name? James Patterson?
Patterson? Yeah. I believe
That
James
dude
Patterson.
makes books on everything, though.
Oh
He was
my
like,
gosh, yeah.
he is so ubiquitous. He's like,
Yeah.
I can write a book about kids doing weird stuff. It's a kid's book. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't realize him and Stephen King have like a some sort of beef between them or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember did you watch the show Castle?
No.
With Nathan Fillion.
No,
So that's a great show. I like it. It's basically Crime of the Week, but Nathan Fillion was like a mystery, like James Patterson type character.
Okay.
And he got brought into like a police department to help them solve mysteries because that's what he wrote books on, mysteries. Great series, really fun. But he had a poker game with like James Patterson, like they would actually show it on the show. So it was great. So I think you might like Castle because I'm like, it's just Nathan Fillion's great, Crime of the Week, procedural.
Yeah.
So it was interesting that Patterson was a part of that too. So yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So how did this deliver for you? Is this like a series or is this like a limited series?
It's a series. I believe it's already been renewed for season 2. But yeah, it was done pretty well. There was a guy that you've seen probably on the Blacklist and what was the other show that he was just on? It was like New Amsterdam. The main character there. He plays crosses like foil in this or whatever. And
okay.
And yeah, it was pretty interesting. And like a friend of mine, we were just kind of going back and forth about the show, and I think it does pretty well. And he actually recommended to me this other show, The Lincoln Lawyer, that's on Netflix.
Oh yeah, wasn't that a movie with?
Yes, that was Matthew
McConaughey back in the day. Yeah,
but now they made a show, and it's got I think like 3 or 4 seasons out on Netflix, and I started watching it because then I didn't realize there's a connection between The Lincoln Lawyer and Bosch, which is another show that's on Amazon Prime.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
So I mean, Bosch and Lincoln Lawyer are characters written by Mike Connolly. I think this is.
Oh, for some reason I thought The Lincoln Lawyer was Crichton or one of not Crichton, but who's the main lawyer writer? Time to Kill and things like that.
Yeah, I think that is Michael Crichton.
Okay. Oh, I thought he wrote The Lincoln Lawyer too. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I just got. Yeah.
Yes, but yes.
Okay.
Michael Connolly. Yes, definitely was him.
Okay.
Excuse me. But now the connection between the two characters is that they're apparently stepbrothers or something. They're half brothers. Not stepbrothers, half brothers. So,
okay.
But what's interesting is like Lincoln Lawyer is on Netflix and Bosch is on Amazon Prime, but not Amazon Prime anymore. Now it's on like that freebie version, which is annoying.
Oh yeah, which I think didn't they kill it too? And it's just everything is now on Amazon. It's free. Well, because I think they're basically just swallowing it and just saying it's Amazon Prime free. Like you can watch it for free. So make sure I got this right, Chris. I just got to get this right. Yeah. All of the branching lives. So Lincoln Lawyer main character, Bosch main character.
Yes.
Are half brothers? Okay. So that's what's his Titus Welliver?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't remember the name of the actor who does.
Okay.
But he's the guy from A Man Called Otto, like the new neighbor in The Man Called Otto. That's the Lincoln Lawyer.
The Man Called Otto. Isn't that like a Tom Hanks film?
Yes.
Okay, man, we're going deep. It's like the 6 degrees of separation of this universe. It's like Tom Hanks is part of this universe too. He's a hitman. Did you ever see that movie he was in? Oh my god, I love this. So yeah, I know nothing about Bosch. I just know it's a series that like was probably on Showtime or something like that. It's like who has Showtime? I don't know. Chris, did you even know that like Cinemax is still a service you can subscribe to?
Serious? Oh wow.
Yes, I'm like, what is even on Cinemax?
Okay.
They don't have adult content anymore. Like we used to watch as kids. Yeah. They like have weird series that no longer show. And it's like, is it just like, here's all the movies that HBO no longer shows? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's too bad.
So confusing. So what do you think? So we got Cross, we got The Lincoln Lawyer. Yeah. I mean, are these worth your time?
I enjoyed both of them. I think The Lincoln Lawyer was a bit slower for me to kind of get into.
Okay.
But I think eventually, I was like, oh wow, okay, it's gotten good. I'm excited to get into season 2, and then yeah, like I said, like Cross, I think everyone did a good job on that show. And
Is that a little more action packed though? Is it like it's like more like is he an agent or what is this?
He's
what is
a
this
cop. He's a cop.
He's a cop. Okay.
And like so the whole thing is like
a
Cross
detective?
Yeah. He's a homicide detective.
Okay.
And like the whole his like backstory is he's got a family, his wife gets killed, and but he still kind of has to raise his kids with his mom like there to help his mom or his grandma, I don't know. Anyway, there, and so he's trying to deal with his demons, like dealing with that whole thing because he hasn't figured out who killed her and all this other stuff.
Okay.
And like still trying to manage his day to day. And like there's this big thing that happens in the show that he needs to try and figure out as well. So he's kind of balancing all that stuff. And I was like, okay, it's pretty interesting. And yeah, Lincoln Lawyer. I don't know. I feel like Mike Connolly does this thing where his characters always have to be like divorced or something like that, but he doubles down with this guy, and he's been divorced twice. So it's like
great guy.
Yeah, great guy. But so he's dealing with some trauma. Like he was like on he went on a bit of a bender with pain medications and stuff like that. And now he's coming back into the law firm stuff because someone pulls him back in a way. And he's trying to unravel this mystery of like why this happened and all this stuff too. So it was like that kind of stuff is cool. And I finally, sorry, I know this is, I'm taking.
I was going to say, Chris, I had to pull up the IMDb page for the Lincoln Lawyer. They actually have trailers. Apparently, Neve Campbell's on the show. I didn't know that.
She's
That's
on the
interesting.
show. Yeah, she's one of his.
It's funny because I'm looking at the cast and I don't even see her listed, which is weird because I'm like, well, she's there, right? Yeah, she is. Okay, I missed that, but that's interesting. Apparently, they had a kiss. So I'm like, they're kind of divorced, maybe. But I'm like, why is it called the Lincoln Lawyer? I'm like, is he from Lincoln? Or like, is he from Lincoln, Nebraska? No. Is he from Illinois? But apparently he takes cases out of his Lincoln vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. So he's always on the move, and his whole thing is like, and he's like really into Lincoln vehicles. And I think it's because his dad had one.
Oh, okay.
And therefore he just likes Lincolns for that reason.
So this kind of reminds me. So he's like the opposite of what's his name, Reacher, where he's always on the go and things like that. Well, he's always got money in his pocket. That's it. He's just always in a car, and he's got his wardrobe in his trunk, and he's ready to go.
Maybe, I guess, but thankfully there was not much of that, like him changing.
Okay, so no Matthew McConaughey. He endorses the show because he's the Lincoln pitchman. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay, good to know. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I had to get this all straight. I had to get it straight in my mind, Chris, because there's so many of these shows. It's like I don't even know what I've heard of them, and they come and go, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's been around for at least 4 seasons, so it's something. And then finally, because I just kept hearing things about this show, I finally sat down and watched it, and that was Fargo season 1. I finished that.
Holy cow, that's like on season 6 now.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So, and it was like, it was really well done. I was just surprised at how menacing Billy Bob Thornton can be, even though he's such a wiry man. Like he's just like so small. It looks like you could like just shake him and he'd like probably fall to pieces. But he was like incredibly good in that series.
So there's every season is a different story, right?
Yes.
The characters don't come back, because I know there was a series where Chris Rock was involved. It was about like it was basically taking place like in the 30s, where Chris Rock was a gangster and he came in. It was all about like these different pockets in the Midwest about dealing with like all the mafioso. Like in Minnesota, there are tunnels in St. Paul where gangsters actually hung out. There was like a underground thing. So like the whole Midwest was kind of like because of Chicago with Capone and things like that. So and then the Chris Rock character, I'm trying to remember which season was a big deal. And it was interesting that Chris Rock wanted to do this. And it was like, oh yeah. So it was like in the 30s, 40s era. Yeah, and it was a season in Fargo. And there's been all these different seasons. I've heard good things, bad things. There's, about the different seasons, but I'm like, that's cool. So Billy Bob Thornton was the first one.
Yeah.
And what was the premise of that season?
It gave me vibes of the movie. Like the
Okay.
plot seemed very similar to what happened in the movie, and they do tie in the movie. I will say that.
Okay.
And because I believe that this does take place after the movie, timeline wise. And I was just kind of curious because I was like, the stuff that happened in this series, and they keep saying it's all of this is true or whatever. Like, is this
based
legit?
on events that might have happened?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, oh god, like this is like Minnesota's pretty intense. If this is the stuff that happens,
That's how we roll, Chris. We are intense, like you wouldn't believe.
Oh man, but yeah, I think it was all real well done. Like, so Martin Freeman is this guy who's just kind of like living his life. He's like an insurance salesman, and he's been pushed around all of his life and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And Billy Bob strolls in one day, and he's like, hey, who did this to you? Because he gets kind of beaten up. He didn't get beat up though. Like he actually just falls, but his bully from high school and stuff like that kind of bullied him into that. And he's like, do you want me to get rid of him? And he's like, well, he's like very unsure of like what he wants to do. And, Billy Bob goes and does his thing. And,
wow.
And then that's kind of where things just kind of unfold from there. So,
okay. Well, very cool, because I was looking at the different seasons. So I will tell you right now, I won't spoil anything, but season 2 takes place in 1979 with Kirsten Dunst and Jesse Plemons, which is kind of interesting, in North Dakota. Then season 3 takes place in 2010 in St. Cloud, Minnesota, with Ewan McGregor and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Apparently that's where they met and became a couple. So there you go. Yeah. And then we had season 4, which took place in 1950, led by Lloyd Cannon, who was Chris Rock. And this one with Jason Schwartzman, and actually happened around Kansas City, which is like, it's funny, they talk Fargo, but it's not necessarily always in Minnesota and North Dakota, because it'd be the Midwest. Then we had season 5 happened in 2019 with Juno Temple, Sam Spruill, some other people. John Hamm was in it. Apparently that one's kind of funky because John Hamm had like nipple piercings, like fake. Because I know it was weird. I heard about that. Like, interesting. Yeah. So that one happened in Scandia, which I'm like, it was primarily in North Dakota, Minnesota as well. So there you go. So every season's a little different, which makes it very inviting, because you feel like, oh, is it just the same story? It sounds like it's just a Midwest weirdness.
Yeah.
In regards to,
for sure.
Yeah.
I was like,
interesting.
I mean, it's interesting the kind of characters that you come across in this show, and it definitely gives me like True Detective vibes, but like in a different way. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's anthology, like that anthology kind of series. I finally got a chance to check it out, and I am happy I did.
Well, now that you've seen all the horrible things in Minnesota area, Chris, I feel bad that you wouldn't want to come out and visit me because you might get killed. That's
I mean,
my wood chipper's put away for the season, so don't worry.
That's great. That's good to know.
Okay, good to know. Okay, cool. Well, very good. I always like hearing about what everybody's watching and some of these things. I'm hearing about them because there's just too much stuff. And we'll talk about that. Like, we talk about what we're getting into, and we talk about our Friendies Awards in the end of the year. We're like, oh my God, how do you keep up? So, but I'm going to hopefully also do the same thing for everybody else about what I've been watching, which is the first thing is Cyberpunk Edgerunners. This is the anime series based on Cyberpunk 2077, which is on Netflix right now. And it's completely set in the world of Cyberpunk 2077. Because the reason I'm watching this, because my son, who loves Cyberpunk, said, Dad, we should watch the show. I'm like, okay, I've not finished the games, but I've been big into the games. So when we get into this world, it's kind of interesting to have another set of people in this world. And when you see the world they live in, I'm like, oh, I recognize that landmark. And I recognize that. And the Edge Runners are kind of like bounty hunters in a lot of ways. So they call that. And our main character, very tragic kid who mom was trying to do right by, and things go horribly wrong. He's basically left with nothing, which is so sad. And he ends up finding his mother was actually doing a little bit of skeevy stuff on the side. She basically was a paramedic and would steal or take away like enhancements, cybernetics, and sell them on the black market.
Mhm.
So he did find one piece, which I found was completely interesting, the spine implant that essentially is way above anybody's pay grade. Like everybody wants this thing, and he feels like he can't get any move forward. So he ends up getting this thing installed, which gives him the ability of like, I would say time lapsing.
It's like
Like,
super
basically-
speed, right? In a way, but
Yeah, it's like Super Spade in a way, like Flash, where he's like moving. But it's one of those things where all these implants, anybody who gets them has to have basically painkillers or something to tolerate them. And this kid is learning along the way. This is like episode 1. And it's kind of interesting because like, you can't do that. And like the person he teams up with is basically at most, maybe you could do it like once or twice a day. And the guy who basically the doc who installs it is like, he basically says, yeah, you shouldn't be able to do that. You should be dead. So it's interesting to see why he's special.
Yeah.
And knowing what I know about Cyberpunk, it's very interesting. So I like this take. It's over the top violent.
Mhm.
Lots of things getting destroyed. A lot of F-bombs. So if you're if you're basically not happy with any of those things, don't watch. But my son and I have been watching it. And when you get to a parent of a certain age with a kid of a certain age, you have to realize your kid is an adult now and watching stuff with a 19-year-old now. Hey, if there's F-bomb drop, nudity, whatever, violence. If you're worried about your kid at 19 at this point, you're doing something wrong. They should be able to tolerate it. Exactly. So yeah. So I highly recommend it. I'm only in 3 episodes in, but I'm really enjoying it. So our goal is to watch that, watch more of Arcane because I only watched the first episode and loved it, but I want to watch more of that. And so then we also want to watch the Castlevania show because my son loves anime and I'm caught up on My Hero Academia. So we have nothing to watch there.
Nice.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's been great. So one show I watched with my wife that I had interesting feelings on is Skeleton Crew. This is the new Star Wars show that is basically the Goonies in the suburbs in Star Wars. There's 4 kids. They all apparently have parents this time, but their parents are good parents, but the kids just want to get away and explore.
Yeah.
It's the suburbs. This place called Atten, I think is what it's called. The show opens though with a crew of pirates doing a bounty, and it doesn't pan out. So we've got this pirate captain who is essentially dislodged and taken over. Then it goes to the kids in the suburbs, and they end up finding a treasure. If you have not watched, there's 2 episodes released. The first episode is kind of like bringing all these kids together. They're well loved by their parents, which is an oddity in Star Wars because typically their parents are all dead and they're evil and they want to kill them. So it was interesting there. And then they go off, they explore something, they find something, and then this is our motley crew of kids who are going to go on adventures and hopefully don't get killed. Did you watch this, Chris?
I did watch episode 1. I thought it was good. It was just like a cute little show. It definitely gave me like Goonies vibes and stuff like that. Like I was saying, like I feel like John Watts just knows. Like
John Watts is great.
He almost feels like this generation's John Hughes in a way. In a way, I'm not saying he's completely replacing him or whatever, but he's got that kind of feel that I'm like, all right, I'm here for that.
He's like J.J. Abrams for this generation because we had J.J. that did that with like 9. Did you see Super 8, that movie he made with Kyle Chandler?
No.
Oh, it was great. I'd highly recommend it because that felt like it was an E.T. in a modern lens. Kyle Chandler was in it. Anyway, J.J. Abrams, and it was basically these kids finding something that crash landed. Really fun. So this felt like he basically is being. This is the next like. Hey, that was the 20, like J.J. Abrams was kind of like our generation's, like, or the next generation's, like, guy that was doing things to bring back, like, certain genres and things like that with Star Trek and Star Wars. And then, like, Alias did those series and then Lost. And then now we've got John Watts, who was big in with Spider-Man and really brought Spider-Man back in a lot of ways. And then, this one feels like the Goonies with Star Wars. You have a feel like there's these kids who are all kind of finding their way, what they want to do. Yeah. So that is definitely a good feel for it.
Yeah.
I haven't watched episode 2 yet, so obviously I feel like I know what's going to happen next. So I don't know. Have you watched any more or just
I
watched
haven't.
one?
I just watched the first episode as well.
Okay. So we know Jude Law is highly involved in this.
Mhm.
So watch where we go. But I would also say, if you have watched the show Star Trek Prodigy, which is a kid's show, it's animated, it's essentially the same premise.
Oh,
But those kids are essentially slaves.
okay.
And they're coming back and they're trying to escape because they are going to be enslaved by bad things. And they find a ship that is also a Federation ship. So they're basically, so it's kind of a cool take. And I think your kids would like it. And you don't have to know anything about Star Wars, which is great. But the characters are fun. The animation's great.
Mhm.
And there's like 2 seasons now. It's all on Netflix. So when I watch this, I'm like, I like what they're doing, but this feels like a situation where kids are putting themselves at significant harm.
Yeah.
And they have no reason to, except they're bored. Because I feel like bad. You watch the dad who is like working a lot of hours and he's trying to do his best. Apparently, the wife died or something. We don't know yet. And all the kids, like the one girl, her mom's like a senator or something like that, high up on the end. And it's like, oh, mom, don't bother me. And then you got the one kid. I think he's I don't know what race he is. He's like the Stice Noodles guy with
Is that like the same race as the
it's like the keyboardist from the band, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What was his name? I don't remember his name. I mean, there's a Star Wars figure of him, but it's like his parents love him a lot. Like he is the good kid. Yeah. He's like, oh, mom and dad,
he's
and then
adorable. He's adorable.
Yeah. He is adorable. And then you've got the other girl who is, I think she's Asian, but she's got like the cool visor. So she's the tech expert.
Yeah.
But her parents love her too. So all these kids are like well loved, yet they want to leave and worry their parents. So Chris, these are the kids we like. Why would you do that to us? As a parent, I feel like as a kid, it's cool. But as a parent, I'm like,
why?
Is there nothing else we could do?
Yeah.
To make you not leave us and hope you don't die. So maybe I'm old, Chris. Am I the old one? I don't know. I probably am.
It doesn't matter. It's just
if you found out your kids were on a spaceship and it left like yesterday, I'm assuming you'd be calm and fine.
No, I would not.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So won't the children think of us as the parents, right? Yeah. Dumb kids. Dumb kids. Yeah. That's why we age. That's why you have gray in our hair or no hair.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. No moms. No, there was one mom, the one dad. Mm-hmm. So beyond that, though, yeah. So the next episode I watched was Creature Commandos, episode 1. This is on HBO Max now. This is Creature Commandos is James Gunn's first official show. We also had like Peacemaker, which is tied to this in a way, but this is official. Like, I'm head of DC. He even said, I greenlit my own show. So he's like, yep, I don't care what you want. I'm going to do this show. So this is Creature Commandos. Essentially, it's the Suicide Squad, but they basically were told you can't use humans anymore. So they said, okay, we'll use monsters. So essentially Suicide Squad with monsters. Creature Commandos, you've got Dr. Phosphorus, which is a radioactive guy, which looks like a skeleton. Mm-hmm. You've got the Bride of Frankenstein, which they called The Bride. You have Weasel, which was in Suicide Squad. You've got Aqua Lady, who kind of looks like Creature from the Black Lagoon, very nice lady. And then who am I missing? Is there another character?
Someone. I mean, you got Rick Flag.
Rick Flag Sr. Yeah, because basically they deal with the fact that yes, his son was killed by Peacemaker. He doesn't know who killed him, but yeah. Right. So essentially he's brought in by Amanda Waller, and their job is to protect a government that is going to be under siege.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so and then was
kind of where we're
robot,
at.
The
GI Robot.
Yes.
GI Robot. Yeah. Who actually was in a limited series I read, which was great too. I can't remember the name of it was Sergeant Rock. So Sergeant Rock created like a crack team who's brought in to lead them. So really cool that they're bringing all these characters, all these different things. G.I. Robot talks about how many Nazis he's killed, and he's very funny. Sean Gunn actually voiced G.I. Robot, and he does Weasel. So it's kind of neat that James Gunn is taking care of his brother. Call it, nepotism, but I call it really cool. Yeah. So I like the show. It's very adult. I don't know where it's going, but I'm liking it a lot. And the music's great, and the dialogue is fantastic. So good job. And then James Gunn is even like, there's an animated version of him in the credits.
Him writing.
You see him writing it. Yeah. So I recommend the show. It's like, I think there's 2 episodes out, and it's going to be weekly as well. I think Skeleton Crew is going to be, there's 2 episodes. So it's going to be weekly as well. So yeah, if you're anti-binge, just wait 6 weeks and it'll all be there to binge. Yes. So there we go. That is what we've been up to. There's a lot more, but hey, hopefully the winter break will be time to catch up. Mm-hmm. So with that, Chris, we leave the Geek Easy. We pay our tab, even though the service sucked. And we go on to, we're going to take a trip to Parts Unknown. We're going to take a hopper to go to the Thunderdome to hang out with Tina Turner and talk to the mutants about a cool topic. And with that, let's go.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome!
Thank you, Tina. The mutants have been gathered for a topic or game to be entertained. And this week, we are celebrating the work of both Kris Kringle and Krampus with our naughty and nice list of 2024 geek media and trends. So, naughty. This could be anything from something you're disappointed with, or maybe the people you're disappointed with. And then the nice, basically, things that you loved and you want them to do better. So, Chris, I made basically a couple categories. I said TV, movies, comics, collectibles. By all means, you did not have to go deep in any of those yourself. So I think we'll do a round robin. We'll do each category. We'll do a naughty and then nice of both of those. So thank you all. If you have interest in sharing what your naughty and nice are, let us know, and we'll talk about that on future episodes on your feedback. So, Chris, the naughty list. We're going to Krampus. He's a good man. Basically, make sure the kids behave. One of my favorite things is the G4 Krampus video. I don't know if you've ever seen it before. Love it. I will share it if you have not.
Okay, yeah,
it's pretty amazing. It's one of the last vestiges that G4 has still alive that I always share around the holidays. So naughty. This is the naughty list for TV. We'll go to the nice next. So, Chris, I said naughty is killing TV series. Series that died too soon after one season. Dead Boy Detectives. This is a Neil Gaiman spin-off, essentially, of Sandman. It was characters within that universe. Really great, about 2 ghosts who solve mysteries to help people. They can't cross over yet, so they're hoping to spend their time helping others before they cross over. Really, really good, but quite honestly, another tragedy of something that did not work. So that is the one that I am really sad about, but there's some others too. So what about you? Any naughty pieces? We can go back and forth if you have a few on your naughty list of TV.
TV wise, I'm trying to think of anything that's like that I saw that was like disappointing. But I will say, like, I felt like there was a lot of people were giving. It's on my nice list, but it's like, but maybe I can talk about it in my naughty. I felt like people were giving a lot of flack to Agatha when it first came out.
Oh, yeah.
And it was actually a good series. And I think I mean, considering how much less of a budget it had and was all this other stuff, like I thought it was a fantastic series. And it was overshadowed by something else that we'll talk about, but it was, I thought it was well done. All the cast of characters seem to be having fun with the show for the most part. And I mean, if anyone hasn't watched it yet, please give it a shot because it was great. And I'm excited to see where they go with this, like moving forward with the MCU, because it doesn't make like that big of an impact, which is I'm okay with. It doesn't need to, but at the same time, it adds potentially some stuff that is, could be interesting in the future. So.
No, that's a great point because you think about where Marvel is with TV nowadays, and if something doesn't have a huge impact or isn't tied to everything, it's kind of often viewed as a failure. But I kind of feel like it's kind of nice to have TV for those smaller stories that build upon things, and everything doesn't have to connect. It just gives you more time with characters maybe you didn't have an opportunity for. and that's where the movies play in the bigger pieces. So
Right.
it's kind of like a victim of their own success, right?
Right. And I mean, I think this is another one of those, like, it actually felt like a show as opposed to a movie that was just kind of chopped up. So I'm glad that they had that, like, you had the opportunity to kind of, enjoy learning about everyone through each episode too. So.
No, I think that's a great point. Naughty is the bastardization of TV, where basically standalone episodes don't matter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically you just have to have an arc, and it's basically a 10-hour movie versus a series. And I really hope that people start treating TV differently, where you can have standalone episodes. So you get those classic episodes like in Breaking Bad or something where like you can point to an episode like The Soup Nazi, right? If Seinfeld was just like one long story, would you remember that specific beat or would it stand out? It's frustrating that it feels like shows can't be TV show. Like they're ashamed for being what they are, which is a shame. But yeah, I agree with that. So another thing that
I will say one other naughty thing in terms of the TV stuff.
Yeah.
Netflix has got to stop doing these breaks in between their seasons.
That
is so frustrating. Either like they do these little like batches of episodes. I'm like, just release them weekly. Just do weekly.
Yes.
It's not that they haven't done it. They have done it for certain shows. I think even actually for some of the animes that they have. But so then just do the same thing with the shows. Like I think they're just afraid that like, everyone's just going to binge the whole season and then cancel Netflix.
And cancel, yeah.
But then do it weekly then. Don't do this batch nonsense. It's like, it's frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Yeah, they're a victim of their own success in that way too, because when Netflix first launched, all the shows were already released. So it's like, everything's there versus like, now it's House of Cards and we have to give you the whole season.
Right.
And that struggled. And then shows oftentimes don't get a chance to find an audience too. It's like, you didn't watch our show in the first 85 hours?
Right.
Well, it's killed now.
Yeah.
I'm like, who has the time to watch a whole season right away? So, but I do agree. Figure it out, because I've seen that with like Amazon where they'll be like, it's 5 episodes are dropped, and then it's like, we're going to drop 2 more, and then 3. It's like, just set an example, and people will be fine with that because they'll find other things to do.
I would appreciate it more because, like, Tom and I talk about this all the time. Like the weekly stuff is nice because it gives you time to breathe, kind of have those the organic discussions with people, get other people involved with it, right? Because like, hey, have you seen this show? No? Oh, check it out. Only the first 2 episodes have been out. And then people can just follow along and then like have this community be built like that. But when you drop everything or you do this like little 3 episode thing, it's like, ugh. And then, you got to wait another year for the next like 3 to come out. So it's like, come on.
Yeah, it just happened in Cobra Kai where I'm like,
exactly.
I thought the series was over. Like, wait, there's a 3rd part of the season that's dropping. I'm like, okay.
So frustrating.
Okay. Because I'm okay. I can be patient. I can be whatever, but just set the rules and let me follow it. But yeah, I'm perfectly fine with the show being weekly because that gives me more time to absorb. Like even The Penguin, which Game of Thrones did this, where I like shows where they basically, after the episode, they will explore what the episode it did, the characters' motivations. I like that because it makes it feel like that episode was important and this is why. Very cool. So I'm going to say a naughty is killing So Help Me Todd because it's got my name in it, Chris. And the name of Todd has been like besmirched by everyone. Like you watch any modern TV show, every Todd is a bad dude. I'm like, I don't know if I'm being attacked. I don't know. Chris seems to be a perfectly wholesome name that no one cares to
everybody hates
besmirch
Chris.
you.
There's that whole show.
Well, but that was his parents. But he was a good guy. It was everybody else to blame, not the Todd. But every once in a while, wants to blame the Todd. Going back to Scrubs, and the Todd was considered a douchebag. So there you go. Please. I'm like the male Karen apparently at this point, Todd. Maybe there's others, but yeah, don't do that anymore. Yeah, but I heard the good thing about the series. Said he see another Todd be a victim. Yes, I'm a victim, Chris. White guys with a name Todd. We just need. Please think of us.
Yeah, please think of the Todds. Yeah,
exactly. I'm also saying naughty to Schmigadoon not getting a season 3. I love Schmigadoon season 1. Schmigadoon season 2 is Chicago. I love this series so much. Michael, was it Michael Key?
Michael Keegan.
Michael Keegan Key, yeah,
Keegan Michael
was amazing, especially strong. All the actors, the music was amazing, but not getting a season 3. Screw you, people who don't like musicals, even though Wicked's the biggest thing in the world right now.
Yeah,
people need to get beyond their. Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing that I'm saying, Nanti, is people didn't watch more American Born Chinese. This is an amazing series based on an amazing book. Didn't get a season 2, so I'm left hanging. I thought it was amazing. Great seeing Asian Americans on screen. My wife loved it. And Gene Wing is the writer, is an amazing writer. I want to see more success. So that's my naughty, Chris. It's just people just not really getting behind these awesome stories. Yeah. So I blame all of them. I blame everybody. So sorry. If you didn't watch it, Chris, watch it now. It's too late. Sorry. I might blame you too.
I'm sorry, because there's just so much content out there.
I know too much.
Like,
so stop dropping it day one so we can all catch up.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice on TV, Chris. What do you got?
Well, I kind of already talked about Agatha, but you kind of wrote this already, but oh my gosh, The Penguin. The Penguin was just a series that I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. And wow, fantastic all around, fantastic casting, fantastic, just the mood that was like, they just filled out the Gotham universe. And I'm excited for Batman 2. I'll tell you that much. So
I finally saw Penguin episode 4. And I watched episode 5.
God,
it's so coming together, good. Chris. Oh my God. I'm like, what is going to happen? So I'm not done yet, but I just don't want it to end, but I'm loving it. And I saw Colin Farrell in costume speaking with his British voice at the end of the show. I'm like, I don't know what to think. I'm so confused. I'm like, oh my God, that dude's amazing. Christine Milioti, who is the mother in I Met Your Mother, or How I Met Your Mother. And she's amazing. Yeah. And she was also in,
I think she was in Black Mirror too, I think. But
yes, one of the best episodes was the Star Trek one.
Okay.
Great. And then she was also in 30 Rock. Oh my God. She played the character of the writer who was like supposed to be a dumb bimbo writer, and she was putting the act on just because she was trying to escape her husband who was tracking her. It was so good. Oh my God. It was amazing. She's an amazing artist. I love her to pieces, so I hope she gets more out of this because it was a tour de force. I don't know our Penguin's ending. You do know where it ended, so I don't know what to think. I don't even know what to say.
Like honestly, it's we'll talk about it when you're done because I think it's a great arc for this character, and I can't wait for the Batman 2. Whatever they're called.
I love the fact that Vic was on Runaways, the Hulu show.
Yeah.
So love Vic. He's great. The kid's great. Yeah. Everybody, the one cop who has that weird, like, he kind of talks like this. Okay. Yeah. I love his voice because it's so like, that's gotta hurt to do that, and all the different characters. Yeah. It's really good. All the mob bosses and things like that. Yeah, it's great. I will also say Agatha's amazing. I had troubles with it at times, but quite honestly, where it landed and the fact that we are getting a character like this that gets some more. I loved her, and then she has more to do. Yeah. Kind of like I love the Werewolf by Night Disney short. So I like that. I would hope Marvel does more of those things. Within their TV licenses
for sure.
Fallout, Chris. Holy cow! So nice,
crazy. I can't now you mentioned that. Like I can't believe all these shows came out this year.
Yes,
it's ridiculous.
And there's more.
Yeah. It's like wow. 2024 was a year of a lot of fantastic TV.
Yes.
So
yes, a show I would highly recommend that maybe not a lot of people watch. It's called Extraordinary. It's on Hulu. It's a British comedy, but it's set in the world of everyone has superpowers, except the main character who does not have superpowers. It's raunchy. It's goofy. It's a half-hour comedy. It's got 2 seasons. It's wonderful. If you like awkward comedy that is not focused on superheroes, but is just a world within superheroes, I think it's amazing. I love that the show exists. It's called Extraordinary.
Huh. Okay.
I think it's on Amazon or Hulu. Yeah, one of those.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it says
Yeah.
Hulu was available. Okay, cool. I definitely.
It's great. It is definitely something that, depending on if you know the person's like tolerance for like sex and adult themes, there's no violence in the show at all. It's basically like just sex and certain topics which make me laugh.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the characters, and it's great. Like some of the characters have like the one character has the ability to channel the dead, which I think is great. The one character has the ability to channel, basically be fast. The one mom is hilarious. She can manage technology, but she's horrible at technology. So she can it's very good. And then the main character doesn't have a power. So she's trying to figure out how she can get a power. And it's just that thing. And then like when she's doing a job interview, the woman that she's interviewing with, the woman's ability is to basically get anybody to tell the truth. So just imagine you're a job interview, Chris, and you are basically forced to tell the truth.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty like, oh yeah, we've all been there. So yeah, love Extraordinary. So that is on my nice list.
Cool.
So anything else in TV, Chris?
I mean, again, it's just been fantastic year for TV. I think I'd say overall for me. I mean, It sucks that there have been things that are, getting cast to the wayside because there's just so much good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to get out and, hopefully 2025 continues that though in the positive, not on the negative side, but.
Yeah, and I'm just getting this out there now so people can check it out before the end of the year because we will have our Friendies, which is our top shows. So watch these. There's still more coming. So we're not done. Movies, we got some stuff coming. It's going to be amazing. Hey, Craven's still coming, Chris. That's going to be top of the pops. I can't wait either. I saw the first 8 minutes. I'm like, they released the first 8 minutes. I loved it. I'm like, I am all in this movie. I love it. Okay, let's get into movies. So we'll start with naughty. Mm-hmm. So I have a theme with my naughty. Chris, what about your movies?
I forgot to mention this. I did go to the theaters to watch Venom: The Last Dance. That's on my.
Oh my God! What were you forced?
I was kind of forced. Yes, I was kind of forced.
Oh no!
Into it. So, watched that, and it was as cringe as I thought it would be, and then some. Like that whole, oh my God, the montage at the end, like you're supposed to feel something for that. I was like, what? I don't care.
Was it Green Day? I can't remember. Was it the Green Day song?
I think so.
Time of Your Life?
Yes.
Was it with that? Yes. Good Riddance. Oh my God. Yes. Because they were the perfect couple. I'm like, yeah. Oh.
No, it was
forced. Like feelings are the worst.
Yeah. When it is not, it was just really bad. And but my kids seemed to enjoy it. I was like, okay, I guess. And this was actually their first Venom movie that they saw.
So they didn't have the whole history. Did they watch any other ones? They had the whole history, Chris?
No. It only goes up from here, I guess, for them. So.
I mean, did they enjoy the biting of the heads of people?
Yeah, I guess. But it was so fast anyway. So it was like,
okay,
whatever. But yeah, like I don't know. That was kind of disappointing. The other thing I thought was kind of disappointing also is I went to see Gladiator 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You would be the first. You wouldn't be the first. I mean, I liked it, but I totally have heard other people that are like...
It's like... So, it was like, look, the action sequences were fantastic. Like, they definitely held up. But it was just like the rest of the movie, I just felt like were pieces to just connect you to the next set piece. And it was like, I was like, all right, cool. There's this kid that, whatever. He has to go through the rise through the gladiator ranks and stuff like that. I just thought though the most frustrating part was every time they're like, oh, Hanno, say something. He's like, oh, I don't want to really say too much. And then he goes down and has like a 10-minute speech, and he keeps doing this over and over again.
Yes.
Like, come on, man. So
I thought it was pretty impressive with, to your point, like, oh boy, this felt like the most sequel of a Ridley Scott film I have seen. So in a lot of ways, it's like, oh, wow, I didn't expect that.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, and Denzel was great though. Denzel, like, Like every
Oh
time.
wow, Denzel was. I mean, I love seeing good actors play villains.
Yeah,
and he was a villain.
he was a villain. It was. I mean,
yeah.
of course, it was a little awkward that he was like the only
Yeah.
guy speaking in an American accent or whatever. But whatever. It is. It's just you just roll with it. You just roll. With
It's so odd, yeah, because it's those movies like I'm British. We're all British, yet we live in Rome. Nobody has Italian
yeah,
accents.
exactly. So it's not like it. It's not that it. Yeah, like the British accent thing is like, all right, we get it. You're supposed to be. I don't know. It was just weird.
He's from a different land, Chris. He comes from America, where he has an American accent.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's foreign.
yeah. My least favorite is when you've got people like Willow. Oh
Yeah.
my god, that show on Disney. Like we've got people all living in the same kingdom, yet the royalty speaks in an English or American accent. That yet somebody else speaks. I'm like, what is going on here? What is going on here? Yes, mom speaks in a British accent, yet I don't. The kid, yeah,
That's too bad.
get it together, people. Yeah.
No, I mean that's what I had so far with movies and on the naughty list for me. What you got, Todd?
Okay. Yeah. So my movie naughty list is typically turn to people who did not watch these things. I mean, I would say my naughtiest of the naughty is the Zack Snyder Rebel Moon movies.
Okay.
I don't know how we got that much money to make those movies that, quite honestly, I don't know how you call them movies, whatever they are. He starts off with a movie and says, oh, by the way, now I have a director's cut. I'm like, Netflix didn't tell you to cut anything out. Well, I got to make something that's a little more PG-13. I'm like, do you think the kids are the ones that want to watch this thing versus all the dudes that loved all the grimdark? Just I don't know, Chris. I don't understand it, and it seems like the money train has fallen out of Zack Snyder on Netflix with that. But that movie, and I did not watch the second part. I mean, I eventually maybe do, but wow, yeah, it's a thing. Laser swords. Yeah, it's a laser sword. But I would say the majority of my things, though, are things that movies I thought deserved better that people just didn't go see for some reason. Fall Guy. Loved that movie to pieces. Okay. It's streaming now. Loved it. It's great. I loved the just Ryan Gosling having fun with Emily Blunt. They're so lovable. I want to be their best friends. I want them to get together. I want them to be fun. Obviously, they have significant others, but I don't care about that. I love Fall Guy. I wanted to do better. Oh well. Furiosa, another movie I wanted to do better, and people just decided they didn't care. They would rather watch Harold and the Purple Crayon or an If movie or something like that. I don't know what they were doing in a summer where we did not have Barbie or Oppenheimer. I really was hoping people would get behind this movie. Did not, and I loved it to pieces. Yes, you have to be a fan of a certain genre, but I really loved it. Anna Taylor-Joy is she's my queen. She is a joy. Yes, she is. I love her to pieces. So yeah. And then Transformers 1. I really enjoyed that movie quite a bit. It's the best Transformers movie. I don't know what anybody else would say. It is my favorite. Bumblebee would probably be a close second, but of the movies, I mean, if you don't count like Transformers the movie, which it's a kids movie back in the 80s. But this was I loved it. I thought it did a lot of great things. Just nobody cared, which is just sad to me. So I say shame to you, all those people that saw Shia LaBeouf put Transformers on the map and you didn't care about the animated version.
That's too bad. It was good. Yes. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's streaming now too. So the good thing is these movies are all streaming. So watch them there if you can't. So, okay. Movies, the nice list, Chris. I will start. Red One. I know this movie was harangued, and this movie's like, oh my God. I took my wife and my son.
Yeah.
They loved it to pieces. They're like, they loved it. I was really impressed with how much The Rock didn't make this a Rock film. which is great.
Oh,
He actually showed a range of character, which I did not expect.
okay.
And I loved it that they embraced the mythology of different characters. They actually introduced like a team of like, these are we're the Bureau of Mythological Creatures, which I thought. And the fact that I don't want to give anything away, but some of the characters they actually brought in, I'm like, I love this. So I thought the world was cool. It was handled well. And it was a Christmas movie that I think added on to the mythology and love of Christmas,
Okay.
which I appreciated. So they did some things that were very heartwarming. Loved the different characters that showed up, so I really liked it. So I would say this is on my nice list. Obviously, it's weird that it's like the Christmas era, but this would be there. I probably have others, but this is the one that just came to the top of my mind. So what about you? What's on your nice list, Chris?
I mean, we finally got Deadpool and Wolverine, and that was a grand old time. In the theaters, like getting to watch that. I actually watched it twice because,
Okay. All right.
And
On Disney, did you watch it on Disney Plus now?
I didn't watch it on Disney Plus.
You went to the theaters twice?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I
Yeah.
went to see it with my wife, and then went to see it with a friend the next day. And yeah, it was just a good time. And I love all the little cameos that they did. It was a good nod. And I thought it would be a nice way to say goodbye to Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but apparently that's not the case. So
Oh, no, he's never going away.
yeah. Well,
Money to be had.
money's
Yes.
to be had. So
Yes.
yeah, so there's that. And nice also, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know. Like I did see Wicked. It's kind of like one of those things where it was like on and off for me. Like it was a good movie, but then they pulled the wool over my face with the whole part one, and I'm like, oh my
Yes.
God, like what? There's another one, and my wife
Yep.
was just laughing at me because it was like, yeah, this thing's broken up into two.
Have you not seen the musical?
I have seen the musical, kind of.
Okay.
I fell asleep.
Okay.
Anyway,
Oh, wow. That's an expensive sleep, Chris.
yeah, it was. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, it was. Yes, I know. There's an intermission. It is a rather long
Yes.
musical too.
Yes.
So this
Yeah.
is like what they essentially do here. Also, they stop at the
Okay.
intermission point. And yeah, but I mean, it was good though. My daughter is super obsessed with all the music, with all the songs and stuff like that. So we have to constantly keep playing those. So,
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
so that's part of the naughty list too, because of that.
I'm going to put you on the naughty list, Chris,
Yeah.
for falling asleep during Wicked.
Yeah.
I will say another movie on the nice list is Heretic. I loved it. It's a really cool new take on horror films. Really enjoyed it quite a bit. If you want to view an interesting way, and especially with Hugh, God, what's his name? Not Jackman.
Lori?
Hugh Grant.
Oh,
Hugh Grant.
okay.
Hugh Grant just really exploring his career now as an older actor,
Yeah.
going from an Oompa Loompa last year to now being like a creepy horror film icon in a lot of ways. Amazing doing a Jar Jar Binks impression in that movie, Heretic. Oh yeah, Chris. It's all in. Check out Heretic. I really love that. The other nice thing, I've not seen the movie yet, but the accolades that the Wild Robot is getting, and I want to see this movie. It's very heartwarming that this movie is doing very well.
Okay. Yeah.
So-
I mean, did it do well in theaters?
It has. It's made a lot of money, which is
Very
like
good.
I did not expect. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very excited for that. Yeah. So I'll put those in the chat as well. So we talk
Sweet.
about that. Okay. Let's get into comics. So I don't know if you have any. If you didn't, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, naughty wise, like I haven't. You already talked about you have it in your nice list, but naughty wise, I don't really have much in terms of comics. Like I haven't been super following, unfortunately, a lot of the bad stuff going on. Maybe it's a good thing. Just trying to be more
No, that's good.
comics. Yeah, but
My naughty list is really just in comics. It's like I'm so tired of Marvel canceling series and then rebooting. Like, we lasted 12 issues. Here's the number one now, where you can get to the 18th version of, Doctor Strange or Spider-Man. It's just very confusing. It feels like, why don't you just do limited series then? It's like, here's 6 issues. We're going to tell a story with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've struggled with that. And it's just very confusing to people that are watching any of the Marvel content and want to go find comics for kids, or maybe you're just a lapsed viewer. What is worth reading? And I just find it very confusing for both Marvel and DC of where fans who want to get back into comics should lean into. So that's my naughty, is just, I want the publishers to be better because making it so difficult for new readers to get into, or lapsed readers, it's frustrating.
Yeah. I can commiserate with you on that for sure.
Right. So let's get into something more positive, Chris. So in the comics lens, do you have any nice additions to comics for this year?
I mean, the Absolute, like you wrote it down here, but the Absolute series has been really cool to follow. I really like these new takes on some characters of old, right? Batman and Superman, and I didn't read the Wonder Woman one, but I did read those are the two that I've read the first issues on. So I'm excited to get into those series a bit more. I don't know how many more did they release for each of them.
Good question. I think we're in like 3 issues of Batman, 2 issues of Superman, and then the first issue of Wonder Woman just came out. I'm behind. I definitely want to check them out. I did go all into the new DC, like it was DC Absolute Power, and then DC All In, which then led to the DC Absolute brand. So I'm going to get into that because I have DC Infinite, whatever it's called, the comic series that I can read those comics now after a month. So I'm going to go all into that. But I love the fact that they've regrounded, and there's a universe where you essentially have DC characters, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman now that are regrounding themselves in a different take, which I think is great. It's kind of like What If, but it may be a little different because we're expecting these characters to continue and then maybe interact with characters in the core universe, which I understand is what their intent was, that we've got these pocket universes, and this Batman, this Wonder Woman, and the Superman would all be a little bit different and eventually lean into that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. It's like something that Darkseid made or something. Is that what happened?
Well, that was one of the things. So like Darkseid was coming back, and because of all the actions that happened, it opened up an opportunity for a different pocket universe to come in, and also then the DC main universe to basically say, we need to create a new DC Justice League Unlimited group to combat, and we're just basically opening it to all superheroes now. So yeah, the Darkseid got brought in. There was a whole thing. So that was the DC Absolute Power. DC Absolute Power was an interesting one where basically Amanda Waller was stealing all of the superpowers from all of the DC heroes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
To take them out. And then, DC All In was a weird one. Once again, was Darkseid coming back and resetting the reemergence of Darkseid. So,
okay.
Super, super, super convenient, Chris, for everybody establishing these things. So it does feel a little bit more streamlined, but yeah, we'll see how this goes. Hopefully it fits.
Hope so too. It's good though.
Yeah. So for myself, the X-Men line finally coming back from Krakoa, I think it's a good first start. It's really fun that now we're getting into the core comics, and you can pick a series you like that doesn't feel like you have to know a billion things. I saw Gail Simone at the Extraordinary Experience in Minneapolis, which was great. She talked about her selection with X-Men and some of the teams that are coming out of that. So I like that. So X-Men needs to be a little bit more approachable than it has been, especially as it's going to be a part of, we X-Men 97, which quite honestly, that should have been my TV nice list, is X-Men 97. So God. Good.
It came
and then we had,
oh my God.
Exactly. We had the new Batman series too, which is really good too. So too much stuff, Chris. But yeah, X-Men, really good that's coming back. And then G.I. Joe, the G.I. Joe Transformers Energon universe has been amazing. And G.I. Joe's been doing a amazing job with the Duke series, with the Cobra Commander series, with the Destro, with the Scarlet, and now it's launching the standalone G.I. Joe comic with a whole team, and it's crossing over completely with the Transformers. So I loved how they've brought it together. Robert Kirkman has been putting this on basically he loves these things so much. He's putting it under his purview as kind of like the universe owner and getting great writers write this. So I love that we're finally getting some really good licensed stuff within these properties. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Naughty for collectibles, Chris. Do you have any collectibles that you've been interested in or not?
I'll kind of casually see things here and there that, like, you know, McFarlane will like release new figures or like the Batman series or whatnot. But I'll be honest, I've been naughty with the collectibles. I'll say it like that. So shame on me.
Well, if it's saving you money, that's not too bad.
I guess that's true.
So that's good. Yeah, your wife is saying you're nice by not buying these collectibles.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
there you go.
exactly.
Nice
Yeah. So I'll say collectibles. The Transformers 1 toys. I mean, I always feel like the movie toys are horrible. So I feel like they're not very good. And when I look at them, I'm like, oh, those look like trash. So I'm like, this is what you're bringing out to the kids. This is what you want the kids to buy. And they're just not very good. So I'm like, guys, if you're going to do something, make something better. And I don't know. I didn't really love the designs of the Transformers 1 world and some of their offerings, considering they're on Cybertron, the way they look, just didn't feel that strong. So if you're into collectibles, Transformers felt like, in regards to this franchise, a little bit below par.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Collectibles, though, for myself, in regards to the nice, it's the Transformers like oddities that are weird, the crossovers. So we had the Knight Rider. I talked about this earlier. The Knight Rider Transformers. It's Agent Knight. So basically, you've got Kit. The Transformer turns into a vehicle, but has the sounds and lights of Kit. And I think that's really cool. I've loved these. And then when it comes to TMNT, the Transformers, give me 1 second, Chris. I'm going to bring this over and show you everybody.
Nice.
Coming through for people who are watching. So this is, it's kind of hard to see, but essentially, you can see, oh my goodness, my background sucks. Basically, it's called Party Wall Up.
Is that Leo? Is that Donatello?
So it's essentially a Transformers crossover where the Transformers and the Party Wagon, and essentially the cool part is you can be all four of the turtles because there's replaceable heads. So you can be any of them, so you don't have to pay 4 versions of them. So this is great. It's the 40th anniversary of the Turtles. They're crossed over. They have all the weapons. And it's basically the Party Wagon, and you get to transform and be a turtle. So I thought this one was cool. I have it. Yeah, so that is, I love the crossovers. I love all those things. I own a lot of other ones, which are fun. So there you go. That is my last addition to the nice list in the world of collectibles.
Yeah, nice.
Well, very good. Well, that is it. It's the end of our show. We went a little bit long today, but thank you, Chris, for having a pleasant conversation in the world of geek. Where can people find you on the world of the interwebs?
Oh man. Well, I've kind of like fallen off completely on the X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. I've been doing a lot more on Blue Sky because I'm able to officially get the 1H1D moniker. So I was like, cool.
Yeah.
So so I'm on there. I mean, I'm also on Threads too at TC1H1D. And on Blue Sky 1H1D, and then we stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D, and then we have our podcast that Tom and I have been doing for just over 3 years, 200 episodes plus now at this point, and hoping to do many more. So, and Todd, I appreciate you always have me on here. So this has been fun as always to just chat with you and geek out.
Love it. And if you want to find a way to document your journey in the world of video games, make notes. Chris and Tom have a fantastic journal that if you follow them, you can find that. Chris, is that still available?
Yeah, it should be still available on Amazon somewhere, but yeah, it's our mini journal once we hit 100 episodes that we came up with, and for a couple bucks just to have a way to actually document your like Todd mentioned, whether you like a game or not, and join us on the journey of playing random games on Game Pass and stuff like that. So
Goodness, I so happy to have found you, Chris. And just out of the blue, I remember looking like, oh, I like the idea of your podcast. Let's talk. So It's been a long journey how we got here, but if you like the random view of Game Pass and all the games you can play there, and them walking through that, definitely check out the 1 Hour, 1 Decision podcast in all the ways you can consume that. So once again, thank you, Chris, for being part of our family, because we feel like you are part of our family.
Oh, this is a Vin Diesel moment.
It is La Muffilia. If it's the Olive Garden. If you're here, your family. I think maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see what it is. We all get unlimited breadsticks and salads.
Yes.
So there you go. Tell them Todd sent you. But myself, you can check out Charlie at the C3 on all social media if you want to check in with Charlie in the world of Star Trek and all things geek media. And then for me, at T-Oxtra, at Secret Friends Unite on Threads, and Todd Oxtra and Secret Friends Unite on Blue Sky. So there you go. So with that, Chris, thank you so much. And remember, folks, be the hero, not the villain.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.